Have you ever noticed how some people twist the truth so skillfully that you start questioning your own memory? They smile, sound calm, even compassionate, yet something inside you tightens. You sense a distortion, but you can't name it. You walk away from the conversation feeling small, guilty, or confused. That's not connection. That's manipulation disguised as reason. And thousands of years ago, one man built a weapon sharper than any sword to cut through that fog. A weapon made of questions. His name was Socrates. He lived in a noisy Athens filled with rhetoric and persuasion, where the loudest often defeated the wisest. But Socrates did not shout. He questioned. He dismantled lies not by force, but by curiosity. That same method, the Socratic method, remains one of the most powerful tools in psychology, philosophy, and modern emotional intelligence today. These are the 4 Socratic questions that reveal truth. Protect your peace and expose every form of manipulation, whether from others or from your own mind. They are ancient, simple, and devastatingly effective. If this made you question a little deeper, you're already different from most. Subscribe, not for noise, but for clarity. Now let's begin. Before the questions, you need to understand the battlefield. Modern manipulation doesn't always scream. It whispers. It lives in phrases like, "You're overreacting." "I never said that." "If you really loved me, you'd do it." The words are familiar, almost harmless, but their power lies in how they twist reality. They make you doubt yourself, your memory, your perception, even your worth. That is psychological manipulation. The Stoics, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, warned against losing control of your mind to emotion or deceit. They believed peace comes from clarity, from separating fact from illusion. Socrates was their teacher in this discipline. His philosophy and the Stoic mindset intersect at one truth. He who masters his questioning masters himself. So if you've ever been gaslighted, guilt-tripped, or emotionally cornered, these 4 questions are your armor. They don't attack, they reveal. Let's start with the first. Question 1. What do you mean by that? Simple, direct, disarming. Every manipulator hides behind vagueness. They speak in emotional fog because clarity kills control. They'll say you're being selfish but never define selfish. They'll say, "You always make me feel bad," but never explain how. And as you scramble to defend yourself, they keep power. Socrates' first move was always definition. He'd stop the conversation and calmly ask, "What do you mean by that?" It sounds innocent, but it forces truth into daylight. It demands specificity, and manipulators hate specifics. Imagine this. Someone accuses you, "You never listen to me." Instead of defending yourself, you breathe and ask, "What do you mean by listen?" Now they must reveal whether they mean eye contact, agreement, or obedience. Most won't have an answer. The illusion breaks. In modern psychology, this mirrors what therapists call cognitive clarification, identifying distorted language patterns that trigger guilt or confusion. The moment you clarify terms, manipulation collapses. This question works not only with others, but within yourself. Next time your mind whispers, "I'm a failure," pause. As what exactly do I mean by failure? You'll notice how vague the accusation is. Your brain can't define it because it's built from emotion, not evidence. That's the power of the Socratic method. To transform emotion into examination, to turn reaction into reflection. And that's where self-awareness begins. When Socrates questioned the powerful men of Athens, they often grew angry, not because he insulted them, but because he removed their hiding places. Clarity always threatens control. In your life, clarity will do the same. Ask this question gently, but stand firm. Each time you say, "What do you mean by that?" you reclaim mental space once occupied by confusion. You become, as the Stoics said, a mind ruled by reason, not reaction. Question 2. How do you know this is true? The second question pierces deeper. Where the first exposes vague words, the second exposes false evidence. Manipulators build authority through confidence, not accuracy. They say, "Everyone thinks you're difficult," or "I know what's best for you." They rarely have proof, just tone. And most people surrender to tone faster than truth. But Socrates never surrendered. When someone claimed to know, he'd ask quietly, "How do you know this is true?" This question is the backbone of critical thinking, the line between truth and belief. Try this in conversation. When someone insists, "You'll never succeed in that field," pause and ask, "How do you know that's true?" The air shifts. Suddenly the accuser must face their own assumptions. The conversation moves from emotional attack to logical ground, and logic is neutral territory. In Stoicism, this question translates to testing impressions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by anything external, it is not the thing itself, but your judgment of it." Every time you ask for evidence, you weaken judgment's hold over you, and that includes your inner critic. Your mind often manipulates you more effectively than anyone else. It says, "You're not good enough. People don't care. You'll fail." Next time, respond Socratically, "How do I know this is true?" Usually you'll find no solid proof, just fear wearing logic's mask. That realization is freedom. That's self-awareness through questioning. This question transforms guilt into investigation. It moves you from emotional obedience to intellectual sovereignty. It's what modern emotional intelligence is built upon, the capacity to pause, analyze, and respond instead of react. Remember, manipulative people don't need to prove. They just need you to doubt yourself. When you ask for evidence, you reverse the power dynamic. You invite accountability, and if they respond with anger or deflection, "Why are you questioning me?" And that's your answer. Truth never fears questions. Only lies do. When you live by that rule, you stop absorbing other people's distortions as your reality. You start living by facts, not fear. That is both Socratic wisdom and Stoic discipline in action. At this midpoint, notice how these questions echo through centuries. Ancient Athens and the modern world share the same disease, confusion disguised as certainty. Socrates treated that disease with dialogue. Today, therapists call it cognitive restructuring. Scientists call it metacognition. Stoics call it mastery of judgment. Different names, same cure. Question everything that hurts you. When someone's words make you feel small, when shame rises like smoke, pause and examine the fire. Ask the question, because behind every manipulation lies one untested assumption waiting to be exposed. And here's something deeper. Sometimes you are the manipulator, not through malice, but through pain. We manipulate reality to protect ego. We twist stories to justify mistakes. Socrates warned that ignorance is not evil. Refusing to question it is. That's why self-growth begins not with confidence, but with humility. The courage to admit I might be wrong. Humility is not weakness. It's the doorway to wisdom. Question 3. Does that conclusion really follow? This is where logic meets emotion head-on. Manipulation thrives on false connections. If you loved me, you'd do this. If you don't agree, you're against me. If you were smart, you'd see it my way. Every one of those statements jumps from premise to conclusion without proof. And most of us fall for them. Not because they're logical, but because they're emotional shortcuts. Socrates dismantled such shortcuts effortlessly. He would listen, nod, and then ask, "Does that conclusion really follow from what you just said?" It's a question that disarms emotional coercion, because once again, the manipulator must prove connection, not just assertion. Imagine someone telling you, "You never help me, so you don't care about me." Pause, breathe, then calmly respond, "Does that conclusion really follow? Maybe I care deeply, but can't always help in the way you want. You haven't attacked, you've clarified." And the truth begins to surface. In Stoic practice, this is called separating what's within your control from what's not. You can control your effort and intent, not someone else's interpretation. By questioning their logic, you reclaim your internal boundary. Modern psychology teaches similar methods in emotional boundary training. Questioning automatic conclusions. Each time you challenge faulty reasoning, you reinforce neural pathways for critical thinking and emotional balance. It's literally rewiring your brain for truth. That's the miracle of combining Socratic questioning with Stoic discipline. It trains your mind to stay grounded while others lose control. People who manipulate often fear silence. They rely on your need to explain. But Socratic silence is power. Ask the question, then wait. Let the pause do the work. In that stillness, lies unravel themselves. Truth has its own gravity. It doesn't need you to pull. When you ask, "Does that conclusion really follow?" you plant a seed of doubt in the manipulator's argument and a seed of confidence in yourself. One grows in darkness, the other in light. And here's something you'll notice. Once you start thinking this way, your entire perception of communication changes. You'll hear conversations differently, politicians, influencers, even friends. You'll spot leaps of logic, emotional traps, moral guilt hooks. You'll see how society itself manipulates through half-truths and confident tone. That's the moment you become mentally unshakable. Question 4. Could there be another way to see this? This question transforms perception. While the first 3 expose lies told to you, this one exposes the lies you tell yourself. When you've been manipulated long enough, you start seeing the world through other people's eyes. You interpret silence as rejection, distance as punishment, disagreement as danger. Your perception becomes a cage built from survival. Socrates would step into that cage and ask, could there be another way to see this? It's a question of liberation. It forces your mind to look beyond its automatic interpretation, a cornerstone of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. For example, someone doesn't reply to your message. Your wounded mind says, they're ignoring me. But the Socratic voice asks, could there be another way to see this? Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're struggling. Maybe their silence has nothing to do with you. This shift from assumption to possibility dissolves emotional suffering, because most pain doesn't come from reality. It comes from interpretation. The Stoics echoed this endlessly. It's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. That's Stoicism distilled into one truth. Perspective is power. When you ask this question, you train your brain to see multiple perspectives simultaneously. Neuroscientists call this cognitive flexibility. It's one of the highest predictors of resilience and happiness. Socrates didn't just teach logic. He taught liberation through perspective. And this question, the fourth, turns confusion into curiosity, resentment into understanding, and judgment into growth. Sometimes seeing another perspective doesn't justify what happened. It simply frees you from being defined by it. That's emotional mastery. And mastery is not control over others. It's control over your own narrative. When you start seeing events through multiple lenses, manipulation loses grip because it depends on single-story thinking. When your mind holds more than one story, no one can trap you inside theirs. That's when you truly embody Stoic wisdom, calm, centered, untouched by chaos. You've now traveled through the first three questions in depth and reached the threshold of the fourth. In the next and final section, we'll bring them together, showing how these four Socratic tools form a complete system for detecting lies, protecting peace, and mastering self-growth. We'll explore how to apply them daily, how they connect to modern psychology, and how they transform pain into perspective. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to win arguments. It's to win back your mind. Socrates didn't create these questions to destroy others. He created them to protect the soul from deception, the quiet corrosion of truth that begins when we stop questioning. Each time you ask, "What do you mean by that?" Here you cut through confusion. When you ask, "How do you know this is true?" You free yourself from emotional manipulation. When you ask, "Does that conclusion really follow?" you expose the false logic that controls you. And when you finally ask, "Could there be another way to see this?" you reclaim peace. The kind of peace the Stoics called tranquillitas animi, stillness of mind. Because wisdom isn't loud. It's calm. It doesn't seek to dominate. It seeks to understand. That's the essence of emotional intelligence, the heart of self-awareness, and the quiet strength of Stoicism. You can't stop people from lying, but you can stop believing without examining. You can't erase manipulation, but you can rise above it through clarity. That's how you protect your inner world from chaos. So tonight, ask yourself one final question. What's the biggest lie I've been telling myself? And am I brave enough to face it? Because that's where all growth begins. And as Socrates once said, the unexamined life is not worth living.